Beyond the Wild.
Gotta focus. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Wild podcast.
Woohoo!
It has been an exciting pre-show. We had a meeting with our producer, Jason Griffiths. If you guys don't follow JG, make sure you go out and give him a follow. We will link his page on the Instagram site. And he's going to bring you guys some exciting clips from all the things that Mark just did that I recorded that Mark didn't know I was recording.
Just highlighting the new swag, brother. Just, the website's active. Beyond
Right.
the Wild
Website's active.
is out
Right.
there after all this time. And you know what? It's the season of giving. And giving the logo of one of your favorite, if not hopefully your favorite podcast. It's on beanies, toques, hoodies. What else, Ron? What else can I find?
So the important thing, you can also find game-worn gear from the podcast. I don't want to do my laundry particularly.
That's on the dark web, Ron. I don't think.
Yeah, hats, toques, coffee cups, coffee mugs, travel mugs, t-shirts, sweatshirts.
Excellent.
Long sleeve t-shirts.
Long sleeve lightweight hoodies.
Long sleeve lightweight hoodies. And if you want one of those, make sure you contact me directly too, because we already have some printed that we can get to you. And okay, so last episode we did a contest, and it was how many images did Mark take in the fall. So the closest guess, and you must post your answer in the comments on the YouTube episode.
The last episode.
Yep. Make sure you post your comments. This week's contest, it will be for another.
That was the Muskox episode, right?
The Muskox episode, okay. Correct. Yeah. So, we can't say last week because we don't really know what.
Yeah, nobody would know what we mean, right?
Because Mark might take too long to edit his images. And
yes, get them done.
So this week, in the comments, make sure you post your guess how many images all three of us took for 2025. And the closest two in the comments will get a free hooded, it's a lightweight hoodie with the Beyond the Wild logo, center chest.
It's basically a long sleeve t-shirt hoodie.
Yeah, it's a heavy t-shirt, lightweight hoodie for sure.
Yeah.
But they're
really nice.
Cozy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just be out front with this. I don't track that.
Yes, you do.
I do not. I do not.
Do.
Ron,
do you use Lightroom?
Yes, I do. But I also cull my images.
Well,
correct. Now I can listen to what I'm saying.
I'm loving
this. I can let's change it to the amount of images I took that I kept. Because that's easy. I can get that number very quickly because I do have Lightroom.
So the number of images that we took, except for the prima donnas, we cull their images, and then how many will Jason keep?
Oh, jeez.
Added to how many Mark and I both took.
But Mark culls images too.
I didn't hear him.
It's going to take some time to add those up.
It takes about 2 seconds. You just look.
I can give you my number right now. Yeah.
Look at your 2025 Lightroom catalog.
I don't use Lightroom. I don't have a Lightroom catalog.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It is going to take you a while then.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thanks for this. I'll figure it out.
So we have we're trying to get some content done before the end of the year. This episode is always, I was just talking to somebody today, it's always one of my favorites, and I'm excited about hearing what you guys have as your favorite moments from 2025? And it's kind of usually something we do around the end of the year. Um, Picture Line again in 2025 has been an awesome sponsor. They've done a lot for us. We were able to finally get Colin on the show again. Call put a little pressure on Jens because I think Jens would be fun to have on the show as well. He's a little bit more hesitant even than Colin, so we need some help with that. But they're a great sponsor, great store. Take care of our listeners, take care of their customers. Um, we would like all of our listeners to be their customers. They've been a great sponsor for us, and can't thank them enough. Also, Canon USA. They understand Mark shoots Nikon. They don't care. But Canon USA has also been a fantastic sponsor for the show. They helped with, I think one of probably, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but maybe one of Jason's favorite events from 2025.
Yep.
Canon sponsored that by providing some cameras and lenses to help getting a young group interested in photography. So, yeah, thank you both. And thank everybody that has come along with us in 2025. There's been a lot of great meetups in the field. Um, some people that I didn't know well that I got to know well on some of our trips. It's been a good year all the way around. I
Yeah.
will shut up now. Sorry. You guys can speak.
No, don't shut up.
It's good to throw out the appreciation. We do appreciate our sponsors because they help with the whole production and they're legit, right?
Mm.
Everybody knows Canon is one of the very top manufacturers of high end photography gear on the planet. and Picture Line honestly has looked after everybody exceptionally well. They're great people, and customer service is second to none. So it's been a great experience. So it's important, I think, to reflect on that, and also shout out to all of our audience, our listeners, our viewers. Huge appreciation for coming along for the ride, sharing our laughs, hearing the stories, getting to meet our guests alongside us and hear about their adventures around planet Earth with photography. So thank you to all of you. And Ron, I share your sentiments. It's a time of fun reflection. December, it's the last month of the year. It's beautiful. There's snow in a lot of the places we live. Great photo subjects, and then to reflect. It's a time. What was this year like? And be grateful for so much, and the fact that we're all still, playing this awesome game here, and alive, and hopefully well, all of you, and enjoying photography. This amazing, passionate pastime, profession, whatever it might be for you. It's one of the best out there for all kinds of reasons. So so thank you for all of your support and being a part of this podcast. And to you guys, it's again, I can't thank both of you enough for your friendship and for the laughs that clearly happen all the time. If you obviously listen from the beginning of this podcast, we couldn't stop to start recording. So it's a great friendship. It's we all should appreciate and need more of those in our lives. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, and I won't go ahead and repeat everything that Ron and Mark said, but I definitely echo their sentiments. And I will just mention that it's amazing the amount of folks that are fans of the podcast and follow along on the podcast that I've met in the field this year, and just the amazing kind words and the support is just incredible. So yeah, I can't thank you guys enough. We really appreciate it.
So, first of all, 2025 was here and gone before I knew what year it was. And it started a little bit slow with, changes in life and that kind of thing. But it developed into not necessarily the busiest year I've had in photography, but some of the best sets of images, the best interactions with wildlife I think that I've had in a long time. And it just seemed like every time I went out, it was good. Part of that is by design. You learn when to go and when to stay home because depending on what the light's going to look like. Um, but just had some, some people that I didn't know well that I ended up getting to shoot with. And man alive, it made for some great shoots and it made for some great images. So I don't know about you guys. I know, Jason had a crazy year. Mark, you've had a crazy fall, especially. Um, what's one thing that stood out to each of you?
Well, we're doing 6.
Yeah, I'm doing 9. So
Okay, let's clear this up for everyone. Mark sent out some ideas yesterday, and he said we're going to we could do a couple each. A couple meaning 2.
Who picks 2? How can you do that?
So Mark has 6 on his list. Jason has 9. Ron has 2. Because I'm a rule follower.
You are a rule follower. This is true.
That's not true.
Just when it comes to this.
Yeah, I took that one literal.
I'll start it off. And Ron, I think this is probably going to be one of yours too, honestly, but not to try to steal your thunder. If it's not, then you've got 3. So,
but you're forcing it upon me.
You're right. Exactly. Reflecting back on our awesome sponsor and the opportunity we've had to participate in PhotoX 2 years in a row now. That was, again, for me, a highlight. That was enjoyable. We got to meet a bunch of people and just being a part of such an incredible group of photographers that we were able to present with and eat with and share time with and to learn from. They were all incredible, very nice folks, very approachable. And that whole PhotoX experience is very enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to hopefully another year. Mark will be joining us this time around, is the plan. So that will be fun too. So folks that might want to come into the area, that if you're not around for that weekend, and as soon as we get dates and things, we can let you know. But yeah, that was a highlight for me for sure. And I look forward to that now and looking forward to next year as well. So quick and easy one for sure. I'll get into more depth on some of the others, but
Mark, are you going to make it next year?
I'm looking forward to it. I hope so.
Okay. All right, good.
We need more time together as a group, and we're counting down the weeks, not months, weeks, till we're doing a Beyond the Wild podcast trip together. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
excited.
Hopefully, it'll be a good one. We were supposed to go earlier in the month. Just throwing
we're gonna
this
make
out
snowmen
there.
Together. Yeah.
We were supposed to go earlier in January because we wanted to try to find some snowy owls. And somebody decided that they needed to photograph a freckled pelican or something like that. What is it called?
Pelican. A Dalmatian pelican.
And why do we want to photograph a Dalmatian pelican, Jason?
Listen, this is going to really fire you up because, this is going to really fire you up because my plans have changed on that and I'm actually not going to attend anymore. So, there is now, and this is very, very recent. You guys need to know this, right? Before Ron blows his top, literally, if you're watching the YouTube, he literally went completely red and his hat moved up a little bit off of his head. So
back.
Okay. But plans change sometimes. And this one was for some personal reasons, but
yeah.
Okay. So we potentially could look at changing dates if it's not too late. Listen, Ron, there's no change fee if you're just changing. It's fine.
Okay.
Are you flying Delta?
Ladies and gentlemen,
this episode is on.
Just let me book my ticket right before we started.
Well, first of all,
let's say a word about this.
I thought it was already booked. So the fact that you hadn't even booked it yet, let's just talk about that a little bit. But
yeah, let's do.
Yeah, let's do.
So
No, honestly, Ron, it's funny you say that because it just didn't cross my mind that had changed and it could affect this trip. I just was kind of going with it, but so we can stick with the dates, or we can have a chat after about changing if we want. So,
come a week earlier if you can.
I mean, we probably could
I mean, like we planned.
with over that holiday that's in there, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Would
The
that give you an
extended
extra
weekend.
day?
Yes, it would.
it would.
Oh, that'd be cool. Because
Yeah.
So
I
let's
have a
chat.
list.
Let's chat after. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
We'll not
The-
bore you all with any more of
Everybody
that,
on this that's listening is just turned off and went somewhere else. So we apologize for
but,
that.
we're sorry, but it was
Oh,
Jason's
it's an
fault.
exciting trip that we have planned. It's just
It is. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So
podcasts coming. It'll be fun to be in the same space recording. We'll do some of that, I expect. And in this room behind me, we'll set it up. Camera angles everywhere. Yeah,
could be some bloopers. Who knows?
could be likely.
Good chance.
Yeah.
Ron, I've never whitewashed Ron yet, so that's a possibility.
Yeah. Well,
Does that involve snow? Just saying.
yes.
Okay.
Hopefully you have some.
So yeah, we already have lots of snow. So not lots, but it's certainly everywhere. Yeah. By then,
should have some by then. Hopefully not too much because that would nullify our trip.
well, not all of it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
There's some rumors it's perking up to be a great year for snowies. So if that's the case, who knows? But it's we have some snow, but not a lot, just a few inches on the ground, and we're a month out. So who knows?
Last night's word of the podcast. So if you listen to the Muskox podcast, we recorded that last night. And last night's word of the podcast
So good.
is frisky.
Yeah,
That's right.
Tonight, it's going to be perky.
Well,
I'm
they're
glad you.
exciting words. They truly are.
So, Mark, how about you? What was one of your highlights from 2025?
This is fun to reflect on, right? And it's something that we encourage all of you to think about the year in review and what you're grateful for and what happened. And it's hard to select. It truly is. There's so many. It's been a phenomenal year. I can't wait to edit through these winter months and start putting images out on social media that are from this year's trips. And very excited. So this is not in sequential order because they're all great events at all six that we'll cover tonight. So here's one. Shout out to my friend in Florida, Chris Herrig, who was on the 4th week of our Caribou tour on the last morning. Something crazy cool happened. And the shout out is because she gave it the title that fit perfectly, The Day That the Moose Stood Still. And we were obviously, as the focal point of the trip was woodland caribou in beautiful situations, etc. Moose are around and we see them occasionally, but we started the last morning on a hike and it was a bit overcast, and we saw at the very beginning of the hike, we saw a group of moose out on the barrens where we were, and that's the sound
On cue.
of excitement when that happened. And so we began hiking not directly towards this group of moose, but kind of on an angle, getting us closer, but not in a way that was straight at them. And I was thinking for our group, if we could get any distance we close is going to improve the opportunity. But the moose just kept watching us. And it wasn't one, it was 9 moose out in this opening. One beautiful bull, some young bulls, some cows, all in this group that were together in what made a horizontal image that was just beautiful of this clan of moose. But it was overcast, so it was kind of dark yet, higher ISO, but it was cool to have the opportunity for that group and to have that bull as kind of in the middle of the frame at times. And so we got closer and closer and closer at stages. When they'd stop and look at us, we'd stop. And then they some of them would start to browse again and we'd walk. We got close enough that with our telephotos at 4 or 5, 600 millimeters, we were able to zoom in to get maybe 2 moose to fill the frame, or zoom out and get the whole scene. But what made it additionally special was that when we got into position about 15 minutes later, the clouds parted enough that the morning light hit the moose and the landscape. It just lit it up. And so it was very special. And why Chris called it the morning that the moose stood still was they stayed with us for 45 minutes, this group. So it was a very special conclusion to our caribou tours, and unexpected. It's being out there, right? On any of these trips that any of you do, being out there has the potential for something super cool to happen. And it was such a memorable experience to finish the month on in the final morning of that week. So, and the light was spectacular. So it was one of my highlights for this year. Ron.
That's awesome. So I had the opportunity this spring. I haven't done grouse trips for a while, just because it's logistically it's tough to bring groups of people out to photograph grouse because those birds get spooked and they're just gone. Sharp-tailed grouse I'm very comfortable with, but it's not the event that the lek that I photograph typically is not what people are looking for, because they want to be out on the ground, and this one you're eye level, shooting from a vehicle, using the vehicle as a blind, that kind of thing. So it's not as exciting, but still to be there and to witness those birds and to just listen to the sights and sounds of the lekking season. Um, it is something that people look forward to, and it's something that people enjoy. This year, however, I had 7 people that came out and photographed on the leks this spring. Um, and it was a phenomenal year. One instance in particular, there's a gal that I work with. She wanted to go photograph the grouse, so I told her I'd pick her up. Well, an unexpected spring storm happened, and it snowed, and I wasn't 100% sure that we were going to be able to get to the lek because it's up the mountain. Um, and if you get any snow at all with wind, it's just inaccessible because it drifts fairly deep and fairly significantly. Um, so took off, went up the hill, busted a few drifts, and kind of got past a certain point, and it was just fine. So when the wind was blowing, which ended up working out to our favor, the wind was blowing fairly significantly, and so getting the snow blowing across the road and leaving the little pillow drifts and that kind of thing, but also blowing across the lek. And I wasn't sure how the photography was going to be. And one thing that makes it tough when you have those kind of conditions is sharp-tailed grouse are much, much faster than a sage grouse. And the focal plane changes frequently because they're constantly moving and fighting and that kind of thing. So to be able to capture them using manual focus is difficult. And with the snow blowing across, it tends to grab your autofocus often. And so I wasn't sure how it was going to work out. Well, the wind subsided for about 45 minutes, and the conditions were just perfect. And when they would come down, and we did a podcast on it, bust through the snow, and you see the snow spraying up off the chest of these little grouse, and then as they kind of have rapid fire feet, um, which makes the sound on the lek, wings out, feet moving quickly, and the snow is kicking up, and the specular highlights off the really dry snow with the sun coming in from, there were side lit from where we were at, showed up fantastically in the images. And so it made for not only one of the best sets of photographs that I had this year, but also just a kind of a highlight for the year just based on the conditions. And I tell people constantly, go out when the conditions are bad. Now, overcast is a little tougher. You want to have a little bit of light on them, but if you get a snowstorm, that's the perfect time to go photograph wildlife because you get behaviors and scenarios that you're not going to get typically. So that it made for kind of a big highlight this year, for sure.
So the question is, should people contact you to have the similar experience or try for that experience this spring?
Yeah, I mean
Timing of this episode?
the downside is that there's never any guarantees because conditions may in fact prevent you from being able to get to where they are. The upside is this year, everybody that went out got like once in a lifetime type images, and we everything from sharp tail to sage grouse to dusky grouse. Um, it was a really banner year. I did come up with a new system with the sage grouse that was totally by surprise and totally just an experimentation. Jimmy McDonald, who was one of our guides up in Churchill, came down to photograph sage grouse, and we tried a different technique, and holy smokes, got some crazy stuff. And I think it would allow for a couple people at a time to be able to go have some success photographing sage grouse as well. So yeah, give me a call, reach out if that's been a dream or something that you would like to do, and we'll get something set up for sure.
I know somebody who's interested. Spent time with him this year, and it came up in conversation. So I don't think he's that far. I think it's drivable to you. So I'll
Yeah,
give you information after the episode. That's cool. Awesome to hear.
yeah, sounds good. Yeah, it was fun. All right, Niner.
So listen, I've been muting because we have the F-35s have been very active the last few days, and they're
Oh, gotcha.
active again right now. So if you're hearing some background noise, I apologize for that. Not a lot I can do about it, but I'm gonna kind of keep mine in order from here on out. I mentioned PhotoX, that was not in order, but the other big opportunity for me this year that was a very big highlight was in February, early February. We had our winter trip that we do, and we had the incredible wolf encounter. And obviously that stands out to me because I've been shooting for images like that for years and years, and I've spent a lot of time in Yellowstone in multiple different times of the year trying to put myself in the right locations and that multiple times for wolf encounters, and have had a few fleeting ones, but this one was special because of the fact that the pack had killed 3 bison right by the road, and we were on a private coach so that we could hang out with them all day. And that actually was an experience that I'll never forget just because of how incredible it was, and to get to spend that much time with them, watching the pack dynamics and the behaviors, both some mating stuff with some seniority things with the way they fed on the carcass and how they approached, and just all those little nuanced things that you don't get to see when you're in a fleeting situation. So spending that much time with any of the animals is amazing, but to do it with the wolves and to see that behavior and the pack dynamics, and that was just awesome. Plus getting to capture images and some video was, obviously a huge highlight of it too. But we spent a lot of time just watching, putting the cameras down and watching, because, there's only so many images you can get of wolves eating on a carcass that really, add much to a situation. Photos I've learned over the years, and Ron, you could probably confirm this, but it's cool to get animals on a carcass, but once you've got a few images of an animal on a carcass, it's just another image of an animal on a carcass. They do a lot of the same thing over and over and over. So the nice thing about an animal on a carcass is trying to catch those interactions of behaviors as a younger wolf might approach and see how the alpha might respond, and just things like that, some snarling and things of that nature is the funner stuff to capture. But anyways, that really stood out to me, being able to have that and getting lucky with that timing and to share it with some really cool folks, and to be able to gather some pretty cool images and video from that experience was a huge highlight.
That was honestly a highlight of my year too, and I wasn't there, but seeing the interactions that you guys had, and then of course getting Jason Loftus got some crazy video, and we'll throw it back on this one as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, got some great video, and I know, likely because you guys had been able to shoot so much that you had the time to switch over and try to get some motion. But that
Yep.
encounter for you guys was incredible, and just
Yeah.
to be able to share it in that way, just viewing your images and the video that you captured, yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's funny is a little pro tip too I learned, and it probably most people would pick up on this pretty quick, but I did not have a tripod. I had my monopod. And so some of that video was handheld, and when you do the slow motion stuff, we've talked about that. It's pretty forgiving. You tend to, you can stand a little bit more motion from your recording, but I did set the camera down on some snowbanks multiple times to get some more steady footage, and that worked out really well for some of the scenarios. So just a little, something to think about. If you're in a situation where you don't have a tripod and you want to do some video and get some more, a little better quality, you can, use multiple things around you, right? Whether it's a rock or a bush or, a snowbank, whatever it might be. There's options there. So something to think about. But yeah, pretty fortunate to have had that experience. So
snow's incredible because you can, Elsa from Frozen, I think she would have probably sang, "If you want to build a snow stand," because you can create a little tripod for yourself,
yeah, you could.
and you can even wedge little ice crystals in and prop the camera up exactly where you need it. So.
Right, create some of that front bokeh, and yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sensing some reels that we can make when you guys come visit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Jason's the singer though. Keep that in mind when we're doing the reels. I'm the lyricist.
It's out there now, so
It's all teamwork. Those wolf images
awesome.
are incredible. If it was going to happen again this February, I'd be like, please fit me in. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
If you
guarantee it, but yeah.
Yeah. Our buddy, all three of us are friends with Barrett and Twyla Hedges. But Barrett's got an opening on his trip.
Mm-hmm.
It's a snow coach trip too. So when you hear this, make sure you hit Barrett up if Yellowstone in the winter is something that you're interested in, because he does have a free space on his tour.
Yeah, one of the best human beings out there. Miss you, man.
He's great guy. Great guy.
Good times.
So, Mark, what's number 2?
Oh, again. Oh, well, not in any order. We had on a segue. We had an amazing opportunity with a wolf last week on a mule deer buck that had died around a kill, and we had a pack of 6-7 wolves go through where we were photographing 2 weeks ago. It was amazing to see the situation of that, the tracking and the moose and all that stuff. Never found a kill, but a hike through the forest and just the story, the map of the tracks told with the 2 species. And it was incredible to share, to see and have revealed in front of us and explore it. But last week, my friend JP and Paul were with me, and we found a mule deer buck kill, and it was just one wolf. And we sat secretively, relatively, to try and get the wolf coming out onto this river where this mule deer buck was. And it had eaten a lot overnight. Nights when they're active, right? This way, because they're not as exposed. But we saw the wolf 3 times in the evening and 3 times in the morning, but never got images. So it was extremely memorable, but it's one of those things as wildlife photographers, you all know there's a percentage of experiences that images just don't happen for. And this was one of them. But we had so much fun sitting silently, waiting, hoping, seeing the wolf coming through this. It was a winter wonderland coming through the snowy conifers. You could see its feet moving and then its side. But it was a shy individual and it was on its own. So it would come out and you get a glimpse of its face looking between the trees, not enough time to get the camera on, and it would move off each time. So it was, yeah, I love wolves and just the symbolism, the power, the mythology, of the species. So it was so close. And I mean, I appreciate that. You know, we all love the win when we get the images like Jason did big time in Yellowstone last year. But it's a very memorable, fresh experience just last week. So that took long enough. I'll use it as my second one. But yeah, it was fun, and it's something, as friends sharing experiences, whomever you're with in the field, that story will come up. I guarantee it again and again over the years to come. Right? The
Yeah.
wolf was two steps
Mm.
from clearing the trees. It was just his head. The whole body was clear. It would have been so wonderful an image with the river and the antlers of the mule deer and this beautiful gray wolf. But so
Yeah.
be it. Can't win them all, but we won the memory of it.
Mm. That's cool.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you did. You won the memory of it. And I honestly, personally, I don't hesitate to take images of the carcasses when I see them too. Sometimes like the mule deer buck's head in the snow by a river is pretty cool too. So there could be some images there for sure. Something that got me thinking is if anybody's spent any time on a carcass, you understand that there's many, many times you might sit for literally days, right? And multiple sits and not ever have an encounter. So you are taking a risk by sitting on a carcass, but the payoff can be incredible for something like so it's worth it. And some scenarios it may not be worth it, right? If it's coyotes that are hitting it or something, and maybe you don't want, they're not as shy generally, but yeah, you get my point. It's always a risk sitting on a carcass. I've done multiple carcass sits and very rarely do they pay off for me. But having that wolf encounter, the wolves are a little different. They're probably going to hit it more. And if you'd had the 6 wolves hitting that carcass, you probably would have got images.
Yeah, we talked about that. We were going for
Sure,
the home run. We were happy
sure,
to try. We
absolutely,
knew we knew because we'd been in the area the day before that mule deer buck had just been killed the night before, and it was half gone. So it was an
mm,
active site. But you're right. If we discussed that if it had been the pack, there would have been confidence in numbers. There would have been individuals with more pluck and courage that would have shown themselves for photos. But the solitary animal, there was no rush. We're in their home, right?
right,
And it's like it has all the time in the world, and darkness will fall, and it doesn't have to reveal itself if it doesn't want to. Some do. So, if we're lucky, we find an individual that was confident enough to do it. But in this case, we had the joy of spotting it, the thrill of seeing it come through the trees, but never revealing itself for a quality photo. But yeah, the pack would have been different. Yeah,
right,
but got to try. It was fun. It was the scenery of it was beautiful, and then obviously there's yeah, it's nature, right? But
Mhm.
it was it was still a fairly clean area with all the snow and the river, and it looked good. But
mm,
fun memories. But yeah, good point in
very cool.
mentioning the pack because that changes the dynamic because one of them's going to be confident enough, and then others follow suit.
Well, confident enough, and then the pressure comes with knowing that something else might just get what you would like to eat.
Right,
So if there's more, even another predator around, even a cat, might put the pressure on them to go consume what they can. Rather than they've got to get past that shyness to get it done. But if he's by himself, as you said, Mark, he can take his time, no worries.
Yeah, for sure. And a pro tip with this too was we spotted it simply because there were like 10 ravens. right? When Ten Ravens took off, it's like, whoa, we need to have a peek what's over this bank down by this river and sea. And it was pretty obvious at that point. So it's something to watch for, especially in winter wildlife scenes, is when there are birds scavenging like that. It's a good indicator.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be watchful of. Anyway, it's respect the scene, but it's winter. There were no bears, obviously. So
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
What about you, Ron? You want to share your last one?
Oh, I've come up with more since I knew you two had a dozen each. Um, so something that so I met a photographer at PhotoX, and she wanted to photograph Swift Fox. So when I got an active den, let her know that there was that potential. Nature by Natasha, and we were out again. This den is close to a road, so we were able to photograph using the car blind and just sitting. And something happened that's never happened to me with the Swift Fox. And I've been, photographing Swift Fox every year. Craig Miller might have more time with Swift Fox than I do, but not many others do. Um, in fact, I'm sure of it. Craig has more time with Swift Fox than I do. He's got some great stuff. But anyway, uh, this female was in the den. The kits were up playing, and I've seen females lay down, but usually it's like on the far side of the den, so you can't really see what's going on. And I've assumed that they were nursing, but this time she came out, did a good stretch, stood up, and all five kits just exploded out of the den and were all over her, and they were nursing. And I was a little bit upset with myself because I didn't want to move enough to put the neutral density filter on, and I had left it off in the vehicle knowing that I wanted to get some video. But I had left it off, and I did not want to shoot at f22 to cut the light. So I went ahead and just shot in slow motion. So I'm using 1/250th of a second shutter speed for the 120 frames per second that I was shooting. And it's not a fast activity. So slow motion doesn't necessarily do it justice. So I have about a 12-minute clip of these kits nursing, which is activity that took place over 3 minutes. So, it wasn't very long, but it's a scramble, but it's not a fast scramble. So it definitely didn't need the slow motion, but was able to capture it. And it was, I don't think that she was all that impressed because it was her first time and she saw it right away. It's kind of like getting them passing food, that might happen for somebody the first time they see a Swift Fox. And then, like for me, it was 9 years before I captured and passing food to the kids. Usually it happens down in the hole. So, but to see him nursing with all five kids there, and she stood the whole time. She never did lay down. So that was unique as well. And she just pretty nonchalant about it, looked back and forth, gave me a look every once in a while. But that was definitely a highlight of the year, and I don't think I was probably excited as I should have been. But it was fun.
That's
And
cool.
I don't think I have shared that on the podcast, that footage. So I'll get that to JG. He can throw it in there. You'll see what I mean about it's not a real fast paced clip, but we can speed it up a little.
Will
so
you be doing the additional audio for that one, Ron?
What's that?
Will you be doing the additional audio for that one?
Um, yeah, I don't think
You
anybody
do the
wants that.
voiceover.
Yeah.
what
Sorry, Mark.
about no? I think as well, since we're talking about Swiss foxes, given how cute they are, Ron, your children's book. Do you have copies available that that people should be ordering for their kids, grandkids, nieces, and nephews.
Absolutely. And when I run out, we'll print more. But
Yeah.
yeah, we've got about between 500 and 600 left. So if you'd like a signed copy of that, give me a shout and we'll get you taken care of for sure. Thanks for bringing that up. But Swift Fox are one of the species featured on there.
So
But
is there a website aside? I mean, obviously people can DM you on direct message you on Instagram,
yeah,
or email you, but
there was, but I only sold 2 books off the website link, and um, I had to pay for a different website to be able to sell them because I can't sell them on my photo site. So it just wasn't cost effective. So I've taken it off there, but definitely message me on Facebook or Instagram and we'll get you taken care of. Or you can message me through the podcast webpage as well.
yeah, it introduces kids to so many species of animals, right?
Yeah.
It's wonderful children's book and should be something that is read to the kids that you love in your life.
Yeah. I was honored to have had Mark. Mark's for those of you that don't know there shouldn't be any of you that don't know, but Mark's a very accomplished writer as well as being an accomplished photographer. So I was able to have him review the book, and then he wrote a real nice little write up on the back that's featured on the back of the book as well. So,
Well, well deserved. It's a great book.
yeah, thank you.
Love it. It introduces them to nature and all these species, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. Swift fox, awesome. I have never seen a swift fox.
Come on down.
Yeah, I
They're
like.
a good time. Jason's come over and photographed Swift Fox with me, and we didn't have the most active day, but it was definitely an active day. But I think there were only 3 kits on that den, weren't there, Jason? And they were a little bit older, so they were starting to get skittish.
What's
So,
the timing? Is there a chance of photo X overlapping with timing wise?
probably not. Uh, the best time for Swift Fox is like mid-June
Okay.
because they're young enough that they are not really scared of you. They're going to play anyway, and they're old enough that they're out and active and jumping around and fighting with each other. And yeah, so that's definitely the best time between the second week in June to early July is the best window for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to come do that again. That was fun. And even though it was a little less active, whatever, the kids were a little older, whatever, it was really fun. And they gave us some pretty good looks. I was pretty
Mm-hmm.
happy with that experience. So looking forward to trying that again sometime.
I'm going to throw another one out. I don't,
Two in a
I don't,
row.
I don't
Oh,
care that we're going out of order.
Go for Go for it if it works.
You guys have gotten me thinking. So I I have photographed 2 coyote dens before this year. One actually was with Mark. We were up in northern Alberta, and I thought it was a lynx. We were going by fairly quickly. I thought I had just seen a lynx. We turn around and go back and find out that it's a coyote den. And so we were able to get some photographs and some video of those guys. But this year I had and the other one was in Yellowstone. It was a long ways away. This year I had a friend of mine call me. He says, I've got a coyote den just right over the hill from my house. And coyotes are notorious for spotting you watching the den. And then the female typically will just take them and move them. Um, and it was a ways away. So the first day, it was fun to just watch. There were 8 pups, and they are very exploratory. Even and they were born a little bit earlier than the Swift Fox are, so these guys were a little bit older, and so you'd get a couple of them take off and just wander out 100 150 yards, and then you get a couple that go a different direction, and then you get a few that are a little bit more reserved and they stay at the den. But I was able to get some video and photographs, stills of all 8 pups at the den site all at once. And that was, never got an adult. Obviously, she would have known I was there. The pups knew. They just didn't care. They're young enough, but to be able to have that much time and then to be able to go back and spend three more shoots with them, um, it was pretty crazy. And you don't get the reason that they're difficult to photograph out here is because they're not protected on the east side of the state. So there's a lot of pressure on them, and the adults are very wary. And so if you're going around trying to photograph them, they'll just give them a signal, put them in the ground, and then they won't bring them back out until you're gone or it's nighttime. So to have an opportunity to photograph them and have them be relaxed was um, it was pretty epic this year. And gotta always thank your friends and your network for providing those opportunities so they're getting a print of their choice. And yeah, it was it was a good spring all the way around. Sorry, now you guys can do one.
Oh,
That was
good.
good timing. That was good timing because the F-35s have been going nonstops the whole time you were talking. So
Happy to help, Jason.
thank
Happy
you.
to help.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. So the next one for me, again, going in order. I know Mark was not and you are not, but I'm trying to just kind of go in order. But the next one for me was my introduction to drone photography. That was new for me this year, and it was a pretty awesome experience. And coming to the realization that a drone is a very valuable tool for photos from a different perspective was kind of an eye opener. And then getting the drone and going through the process of getting the license, and then going down and spending time in the southwest desert of Utah, trying to photograph some of the cool features, and lots to learn still as far as that goes. But that was another highlight for me, and I appreciate Kelly for dragging me along and showing me some of those places and introducing me to that drone idea. So we got lots of ideas for this next year. Maybe even trying to make some winter trips down that way because of the snow with the red rock, and some of those things could be make for some really cool photos as well. And looking to do maybe some more fall colors and some things here in Utah with the drone. So, anyways, lots of opportunities there with that, and that's a fun new tool, and that was a highlight for me.
Images were incredible. You caught that you
Yeah,
collected.
for
I mean,
sure.
right out of the gate, you were hitting home runs. Beautiful work.
Well, thank you, but I got a lot to learn. I got a lot to learn. The editing those images is different, right? You're using a 4/3 sensor. You got more megapixels than my other cameras, but they're different. They edit different. Just learning all those little techniques and how to edit those images from a full sensor, full size sensor. But anyways, yeah, lots to learn. And then honestly, just still like places to go. There's so many opportunities, and I've now started following quite a few pages that focus on drone photography, and there's some incredible work out there. So if you guys are interested in that, just go do some searching on Instagram, and you'll see some incredible images of folks, and it might even light the fire for you as well. So, and Colin can hook you up with a drone if needed. So,
Not only can he, but he will.
yeah.
All right, Mark.
Cool. Rapid fire now. Should I finish with 4 quick ones? Not in any order. There's just so many fun experiences over the course of the year, and it's been a wonderful opportunity to be in the field. The older we get, it's and the reminder. I've lost loved ones younger than me this year, and it's like I was with a friend Sue just a number of days ago. We were standing as she was exercising her 3 beautiful dogs, and She was drawing in the snow a timeline of life, and how in our culture here in North America, we have our 20s and 30s, and we're working in our 30s, working in our 40s. We're working towards a retirement. We're working towards a nest egg to retire, or there's a pension, there's an end game where then all of a sudden people have time to be free and explore and live life. But not all of them make it, right? And lost a dear friend recently. She was 44, too young. So Sue was pointing out that, to fit things into life through those decades, and I know it's not always possible. It's hard to have a perfect schedule, but not to ignore it through our, 30s, 40s, 50s. Make time while one's healthy to explore things. So that was part of my template for this year, not just the tours and sharing it with people. I love to share the experiences, but to have the experiences. So just something to reflect on. And there's so many when we make the time. And sometimes it's subtle and little. It doesn't have to be grand and big or travel far, and any of that. They're all important to our enjoying life. So it's a challenge. I find it a challenge to make the time, but scheduling it makes it happen too, right? When one can, within their means. And I know everybody's means are different as well too. So my next highlight was a fun day on our first week of Caribou this year, where we were with one of the harems that we work with, and a magnificent bull caribou, and there were some satellites. We hiked a ridge. We saw them. It was probably a 2 or 3 kilometer hike, a couple mile and a half or two. We could glass them from a distance up on this ridge, and we got there and realized there were 2 or 3 satellite bulls around. It was a great year for adolescent males, which keep things active. And once we got close enough to photograph the herd bull and what was going on, I noticed off to the right, another bull was coming in, and he wasn't one of the 2 or 3-year-old satellite bulls. He was probably a 6-year-old. And it was like, oh my goodness, this is could be fun, right? So he came in, and the herd bull, which was a little bit bigger than him, but they're close. So there's that tension, there's excitement, beautiful morning, beautiful light. The settings were very nice. And the bull came in, this other bull, which I'd seen only once before, one day last year. He passed through the region and spotted him, photographed him, and that was it. So here he is again, and a very different looking animal than the herd bull too, coat color and antler formation, but very impressive. So he came in, and it's like, get ready, everybody. They could spar or fight, and the herd bull left the females and went to him. And this other bull, when they got within about 20 yards, turned and walked away. And I was like, oh, it was so nice. We got the two in the frame, both magnificent specimens for the species, but they didn't do it. So for a moment, it was still wonderful, but it was so close to being something crazy cool. Well, over the next couple of minutes, they seemed to chill out a bit. Even though the other bull walked away, he went 20 or 30 yards, then slowly came back. And then they engaged, and they started sparring. And we were in a good position for light, but not the best. So it's one of these things, and as the excitement, the adrenaline, the thrill of when this is unfolding, this cool behavior of any species that you get to experience, it's like, get it quickly while you can, because it may last seconds. But when we're really lucky, it lasts for like 15, 20 minutes. And this is what went on. And then these two bulls, these stags, were so distracted with each other in their intense sparring that our small group was able to pivot and change the backgrounds and light to like hit home run situations for the photos, and have time to do stills and video. And it was amazing that the slow progression ended up with that. And at the end of the 15 and 20 minutes, I think it was that long. It's one of these things where, you know, it's so wonderful. Time kind of stands still. It's hard to gauge. I'd have to look at the counter on the photos, but it was long enough for us to move like 50 yards, pivoting around them while they were doing it. And they were on a clear, it wasn't like in brush. We could see their bodies, their hooves, so it was clean. And at the end, the herd bull was like, okay, this has been enough. And he lost his temper for like 2 seconds and pushed the other guy enough to assert his dominance. And he left, and we didn't see him again at that point. But it was a crazy cool experience that even knowing the species so well, you can't predict that it's going to unfold that way. You hope it will, and the excitement of it. And it was a great emotional roller coaster because it seemed good. It was good. It seemed like it was going to be crazy good. Then it dropped off, and then it became crazy good. So it was a very memorable day in the land of caribou.
I was just describing that, the highs and lows of a day, just a day of wildlife photography. You really don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how they're going to react. Are you going to get a good show, or are you going to get just a fleeting glimpse? Um, it's not, the highlight images make it appear that it's always that good, but it rarely is. It's 95% looking and waiting, and 5%, maybe 4% actively shooting, and 1% just insane experience of a lifetime type moments. But that's why we do it, right? For the 1%.
Makes it even more special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even when it's, I mean, it definitely is. Those are the highlights. But I just love hiking the land, and you see animals. You'll see a moose, or see something cool on the land, not an animal even. But yeah, there's nothing like when everything falls into place. So, and it is, yeah, it can't be expected.
Right.
It's hoped for. Yeah, cool.
Very cool. Ron, got another one?
I do, but I'm gonna do it last.
Ooh.
Oh, wait a
All right.
minute. You don't get to just
Okay.
steal the show.
Yeah, right. He's dictating the outcome here. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then, if you're going to do that, I'm going to throw in three, two or three quick honorable mentions that won't relay the whole story. But just to conclude, uh, um, Mark and Sue, our day with bear and ground caribou was one of them. Right, we found a bachelor group of bulls on the tundra. The color was great. Uh, right after we found them, they laid down. I can't remember. I think it's like 7 bulls. I have yet to edit it, but obviously for this episode on YouTube, there'll be images by the time it's done. We found them and didn't get any shots to begin with, and they bedded down and slept. So we sat and chilled with them for a couple of hours until they got up. And they were about 80 yards away, so nothing might have unfolded if they got up and walked away, aside from butts and a beautiful landscape and the rear view of magnificent antlers. When they got up, 3 of them anyway, if not 4, came toward us, and a couple, and one especially, came very close. And it was just, we sat still, and it was amazing, the trust and the scenery and how it unfolded. And then over the next hour, the interaction of the bulls. So that was a highlight. And another one was Chris and Joe. Jen and Linda were on a week with me, and we waited a day and a half for something to unfold because of where caribou were and where they might go to, and they eventually did what I'd hoped they would do, and swam right toward us. It took a long time of waiting, and it was at the beginning of the trip, so I appreciate the patience of everybody, but I was so ecstatic when it turned out. And the final thing I'll give a shout out for was just for me personally, and the wonderful people shared with, was the first day of success with the muskox and how that happened. was unforgettable too. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick couple, Ron, because I can't not mention.
No,
If you're going to do the last one, then
you had 9, so go
I
ahead.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can't. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, and you alluded to it. Obviously, the youth camp, that was an incredible experience for me. That was fun. It was well supported. Had 14 awesome kids that I think all got what they were hoping to get out of it. The feedback was very positive. We're doing it again this next year, which we've already talked about. So hopefully here soon, by the first of the year, we'll start to have some advertisement for dates and what the structure will be like. So very excited about that, and I'm hoping that more youth. We're hoping for 20 kids this year, and I think we can fill that with the time frame that we have. So, anyways, should be another great experience, and it's humbling and an honor to be a part of it. So, a couple others that I'd be remiss without mentioning. I won't spend any time on any specific experiences just because we've spent time on them on episodes. But the Pantanal was obviously a highlight for me and something that I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did, and it opened my eyes to a whole bunch of different ideas and opportunities for that type of photography. And the experiences we had with the Jaguars was incredible, and it was a trip with great people. And that's we've mentioned this, but it cannot be under mentioned how incredible the experiences we have are, especially when you share them with people that are like minded, and you build those bonds and those friendships when you have those experiences, for sure. And then the last one is just Churchill, which we just spent some time on in a recent episode that will have aired before this, and the the one incredible encounter we had with a giant boar at the end of that trip that we mentioned in that podcast was just something special. I was, for me, it's always about the big bears, the big boars, and there's just something special about an animal like that, and they're not as common as you might think. That at least they're a little more shy than the other bears. So to have one stroll into town on our last night and give us some pretty cool shots and have an incredible experience was pretty special. So anyways, that's it for me. I'll let Ron wrap it up.
great variety.
I typically don't spend as much time and I didn't spend any lengths of time in Grand Teton National Park, but I was able to make several trips over there this year, and black bear in a tree with Bill Sienkiewicz, and just got some insanely crazy stuff in this flaming red foliage. The bears eating berries off the end of the branches, and it was something that it was unexpected. I'll just say that, because we were very close proximity, and so that um, got to take my grandson to see his first elk on the way down there, and then got to photograph some moose with the Grand right in the background and throw those images up. But Grand Teton National Park produced some crazy images this year, and opportunities that I won't soon forget. But the biggest one was to be allowed to be present when my youngest daughter got engaged, and her now fiance had requested that I figure out a way to be there. And not only did I figure out a way to be there, but I pirated her son and my grandson, and that was the same day that we got him on elk, and then got down and got to film the. I was set up to film the proposal, and just be able to be there and to share in that. They're getting married in Scotland, and the way things are currently, I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to make it. Um, but I hope to. But at least I was able to be a part of that proposal, and to see her reaction, and to film her reaction. She's probably not all that excited about it, because I did some creative edits, and going to overemphasize some things maybe, but it was nice of him to allow me to be a part of that and to capture it, and so that he, his request was a little bit selfish because he wanted his family to share in it as well. So I was there to share with them, but also got to be there for myself. And that that's one that you just don't get to repeat. So I'm pretty thankful for that one. But Grand Teton National Park overall was very, very good to me this year.
Very cool.
Excellent. Wow. Very meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick reminder for everybody to now's the time of year to be thinking about putting your books together for all your favorite memories from the year too, which fits a lot with the thing we've been talking about today. So now is a good time to be thinking about all those favorite experiences and then picking your favorite images and creating those books for yourself, for your mom, whoever might be your biggest fan. They make a great Christmas present. And also they're great for your kids and grandkids to look back on as, time goes on. So just a reminder.
Excellent. Well, we hope that you enjoyed our flashbacks of some of the highlight experiences of 2025 as far as our wildlife photography adventures have unfolded, and hopefully even more so it sparks you to think about yours and what happened this year, and hopefully we all have things to be grateful for, and it's not just that, but gives us an opportunity to look forward, and thank you for coming along for the ride. Beyond the Wild podcast. Thank you to my co-hosts and Ron and Jason for all the camaraderie, friendship, and laughs. And to our listeners, most of all, thank you for supporting the show and help it keep going. This is one of those episodes. I mean, most of them are now. And of course, we invite you to listen on any audio platform and enjoy that. But with the storytelling, when you have time, please engage with YouTube and see what we're talking about as far as the photos and videos and highlights. Our producer does a great job of weaving those into the storyline. And if you have the time, please leave a comment. That helps us to grow on any of these platforms, but especially YouTube. And share it with like-minded people is much appreciated as well. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of Beyond the Wild podcasts. We will see all of you again next week.
And that's a wrap for another episode of Beyond the Wild podcast. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Pictureline.com, your online source for everything photography, and Canon USA.